Hey, what's going on, everyone? In this video, I want to talk about a superpower that I wish I had that I simply don't have. And I want to express how this superpower is one of the biggest limitations in trying to learn a second language. That superpower, is just the ability to recall, having a great memory. Now, a lot of people have opinions about memory and how to recall things. And the honest truth is, if there is a pill that helped people recall things, like someone will be rich as long as they're not scamming the individual, right? Everyone has their own ability to recall things. I have my own theories about like when things become easy to recall, but again, there's entire systems that's dedicated to learning and recalling. Flashcards is one system, and then there's Anki, who has a like systematic approach to recall. And the idea with the Anki flashcards are that apparently you build your flashcards, and then it's a space repetition system so that if you have a specific word, you look at the word, and then Anki, the system itself, will like remind you when you need to look at the word again. But even if you think about that system, let's say that you had 100 words, and then Anki allows you to like it nudges you to recall the word. Like that's all good, but eventually there's going to be limitations to the Anki system as well, because any second language or even your native language is filled with thousands of words. And so at some point, there's going to be a limitation of how many words that you can actually recall, even with an Anki system. Why did I bring this up? So the other day, I was having a conversation with my wife, and I was trying to remember the word for shield in Spanish. In the word, I'm like, why can't I remember this word? Here are two books that I read this year. Don Quixote de la Mancha. It's about 100 pages. And here's another book, Don Quixote de la Mancha, part 2. And I have them. The reason why they're rubber band is because I scan them all in, and I'll bring them up on the screen. And the reason why I found it kind of troubling that I couldn't remember the word for shield in Spanish is because Don Quixote de la Mancha, the first book, says the word shield at least 14 times, right? He's walking around the town with shields and spheres and all this other stuff. It's like, so like this is a big part of what he does and the tools that he has. And then in the second book, it said 11 times. So a total of 24 times I saw the word. And then there's also the audio component for both of these books that I listened to. So that means I heard the word 24 times. And I saw the word 24 times. But when it came for me to recall the word, the Spanish word for shield, I couldn't do it. But the crazy thing about recall is that if I heard the word being said, I will automatically know that, you know what, oh, that's the Spanish word for shield. So I really don't understand that concept of like of what it means. And I'm sure scientists probably have explanations. Each scientist is going to have their own explanation about it. But like that's something like it's weird. And again, everyone have their own ability to recall things, whether it is words or situations or whatever. But like I'm in my 40s now, and sometimes I can't even remember what I did 2 days ago. So when it comes to the language learning, like that is a superpower that some people have that I just don't have. Like even throughout my life, I've never been a person that was good at rote memorization. Never. I went through a school called Nuclear Power School, and one of the things, and it was Navy nuclear power school, and one of the things that we had to do was remember a lot of material, and I was always the bottom of my class because I didn't remember it really well. I passed, but it was a struggle, and so my point of saying all of this is depending on your ability to recall material, you may have to go through whatever method of learning the second language that you are using like multiple times. And it really does get discouraging sometimes. Like, imagine if I'm like, oh, I can't remember the word for shield. I can't do this. And then I just give up. You can't do that because you have to recognize that you have your own ability to recall things. Maybe some systems work for you that don't work for others, and vice versa. And that's also why it's dangerous for anyone to say, hey, you can learn the language in 90 days, or you can learn the language in 30 days, and then put videos out there. It's because even if there is a scientific process of learning, let's say 10,000 words in 10 days, you're still going to be limited on how long you keep those words in your head. So it's definitely a superpower that many people don't have, and it varies from person to person. So why is that important for the method, so to speak, that I recommend? Like, I recommend using the workbooks, at least, in addition to other things. If you haven't watched my video, make sure you watch my video on how to learn Spanish. But I recommend using the workbook Complete Spanish Step by Step, and workbooks going forward, even after you complete the workbook Complete Spanish Step by Step, because for me, I know specifically the sentences that I am working on and the words that I'm working on, and I'm seeing those things over and over again, and those help for my recall, as opposed to, let's say, watching a video that I listen to and I hear a word among hundreds of other words. It's like it's going to be much more difficult to try to focus on a word that I don't know if I am watching a video, or in this case, reading a book, is because what I want to do is I want to enjoy the video or enjoy the book. And I don't want to stop every time I get to a word that I don't know and write it down and then like make flashcards out of it, because then I'm no longer enjoying the process. So in my opinion, reading and watching shows is a very passive activity unless you actively engage in that activity and make it an active activity. And as long as you're doing passive activities, the amount of material that you remember from those materials is going to be based on your ability to recall those. So just keep that in mind as you're going through your second language acquisition, or your ability to learn a second language. Like, that's going to be a limitation, and you just have to be able to recognize whether or not you have strengths to remember everything that you are, I guess, taking in. And if you're as bad as I am, then don't worry about it. You're just going to have to work harder than other people to recall the things that that you see. So hopefully this video helps and bring a little bit of an encouragement to those who are like me, who don't have a superpower of a great recall. Until the next video, peace.